Hello and welcome to the talk show Amader Sthaniyo Sorkar. I am Jamil Ahmed, your host. Amader Sthaniyo Sorkar, our local government, showcases and highlights local government good practices in Bangladesh and discusses ways to further strengthen local government bodies in Bangladesh. The talk show is brought to you by the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, SDC, Boishakhi TV and Radio ABC. The guests present in today's episode are Mr. Bodiuzzaman Badshah, General Secretary, Bangladesh Upazila Porishad Association, Mr. Saidur Rahman, Director, Bangladesh Disaster Preparedness Center, BTPC, and Mr. Ahsan Zakir, Director General, Bureau of Disaster Management, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh. Today's episode focuses on the role of local government in disaster management. Mr. Bodiuzzaman Badshah observes few drawbacks in the existing disaster management program of the government. He points out that the existing Standing Order on Disaster, SOD, does not clearly mention the exact role of local government bodies, i.e., Union Porishad and Upazila Porishad, the main organs of local government, in regards to disaster management. Though representatives in every tier are directly engaged in government's program for disaster management, in his view, the local government is not fully empowered to participate in the program. Mr. Badshah mentions that currently Upazila chairman is not the legally authorized person to take part in the process. The SOD for Upazilas provides authority to the executive officers of the government to take lead in the disaster management process. According to him, this is a legal obstacle responsible for excluding Upazila chairman from the process. Yet, in Upazila Porishad, members or councillors, both male and female, voluntarily engage themselves with the disaster management process. He recommends that the representatives at Upazila and Union Porishad require proper empowerment for better execution. At the same time, there should be a review of the SOD, taking opinions from every tier of local government. Mr. Saidur Rahman considers local government as a vital player for managing disasters. If not more, they should play a role as important as that of the government and NGOs. Local government has good access to the disaster-prone community. He explains that disaster affects the poorest segment of the society most. It has a huge socio-economic impact apart from the physical damage. It prevails in the lives and ways of the surviving victims. Mr. Saidur states that disaster management is about risk reduction, which is centered on the idea of economic development and empowerment of the disaster-prone population. For that, there is no alternative to the empowerment of local government. He recommends that the local representatives need to be well trained and equipped to be able to actively take part in the process. According to him, the leadership and coordination tasks of disaster management should also rest on the shoulders of local representatives, i.e., of elected members of Upazila and Union Porishad. So there has to be a change in mindset to face this challenge. He shares his experience while working at the grassroots level. Where he has found that local disaster managers are more interested about proper training instead of funds. Mr. Ahsan Zakir, however, feels optimistic with developments achieved so far in managing disasters. He describes that already the government has brought about radical changes in the SOD. Previously, the primary reaction to disasters was based on recovery through material aid, but now the focus has shifted to reducing risk of damage through preparedness. Mr. Zakir presents statistics that show significant reduction in the number of casualties during cyclones in recent years just because of the preparedness strategy called early warning. He also mentions about the development of a new technology which makes it possible to forecast a cyclone days before it actually hits. The distance, speed, and magnitude of a cyclone can also be measured in advance. There is also a program called Cyclone Preparedness formed by volunteers at the coastal belt. The alert message is also conveyed through electronic media repeatedly before the disaster hits. The latest addition to the preparedness program, which is to be implemented in next 6 months, is the SMS alert in every mobile phone in a particular area. Mr. Zakir also holds similar view regarding the importance of local government in disaster management process. He informs that the representatives in Union Porishad, municipalities and ward councils are already incorporated within the process. The inclusion of the Upazila chairman is only a matter of time, as the standing order on disaster will be reviewed in near future.
প্রিয় দর্শক শ্রোতা, আপনাদেরকে ধন্যবাদ এতক্ষণের আলোচনা আমাদের সাথে যোগ দেওয়ার জন্য। আমরা আপনাদের কাছ থেকে মতামত আশা করছি। আমাদের কাছে বিভিন্নভাবে আপনারা পৌঁছাতে পারেন। আমাদের কাছে আপনারা চিঠি লিখতে পারেন। চিঠি লেখার ঠিকানাটি হচ্ছে প্রযোজক আমাদের স্থানীয় সরকার, বৈশাখী টেলিভিশন, 32 মহাখালী, ঢাকা 1212। এছাড়া ইমেল করতে পারেন। ইমেল ঠিকানাটি হচ্ছে assorkar@boishakhi.tv। প্রিয় দর্শক শ্রোতা, আমাদের একটি ওয়েবসাইট আছে যেখানে আমাদের আগের সবগুলো অনুষ্ঠান দেখা যাবে এবং রেডিও অনুষ্ঠানগুলো শোনা যাবে বাংলা এবং ইংরেজিতে। আপনারা চাইলে লগ অন করে অনুষ্ঠানগুলো সম্পর্কে মতামত জানাতে পারেন। আমাদের ওয়েবসাইটটির ঠিকানা হচ্ছে www.amadersthaniyosarkar.com। আমরা আশা করব যে কোনো একটি মাধ্যমে আপনার মতামত জানিয়ে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠানকে সমৃদ্ধ করবেন এবং আগামী দিনে আমাদের সাথে যোগ দেবেন। আজকে আলোচনা অংশ নেওয়ার জন্য সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ এবং শুভেচ্ছা।